As we go deeper and deeper into the Wisconsin prep football season, a lot of things starting to clear up. The picture's starting to come into focus, especially when we talk playoffs. And we're going to talk about that right now as we jump into the Big 8 conference. An undefeated team up at the top in Sun Prairie. They are highly ranked at third in the state, but also a couple of teams that got to playoff eligibility, Middleton and Madison West, who we saw on Friday night.
Yeah, we saw the Madison West. They're tied now with Middleton for second place in the conference, a 41-7 win, or a 40-7 win over Madison East. Jaden Stevens went off again. We ended up giving him the offensive MVP. He goes 13 carries, 188 yards, and 3 touchdowns officially. So.
Surprise, surprise. Every time we've seen Jaden Stevens this year, he has been unbelievable. He's got a tough assignment. Thursday night, the big game in the Big 8, Madison West against Sun Prairie. Sun Prairie's defense allowing just 4.2 points per game. They've only given up 25 points all season. And
insane.
Pulled the shutout last week.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, Sun Prairie beating, they got the first place hold on the Big 8 conference, that 50-0 win over Madison Memorial. So, you know, you get that head-to-head challenge now this next week, so it's going to be the deciding factor of who's going to end up winning this conference, you would think.
Yeah, offensively very balanced as well. Draven Peoples, you got Jack Zander at quarterback. They can do it all in Sun Prairie in that powerful defense. They're ranked number 3 for a reason. Other teams, Middleton, as we talked about, they improved to 5-1. They are now playoff eligible. Verona just a game away from that.
We got, so Middleton beating Parker 42-0. You see the scores behind us, so we kind of don't have to go through the scores individually. But,
right.
I mean, it's just, it's you know, every year we kind of talk about those top 2-3 teams at the top of the conference, and Madison West kind of surprising people a little bit, being in the conversation for that. So, as you mentioned with the Sun Prairie West game, that'd be the one I think I'm keeping my eye on this particular week. But, yeah, a lot to shake out here still in the last few weeks of the season, but man, it's exciting so far.
Absolutely. Sure. Also exciting in the Badger North Conference, you know, the top-ranked team in all of Division II is Wanakee. They are there for a reason. Their defense absolutely outstanding. They only give up 7.5 points per game, but then you start talking about guys like JV and Dane, 837 yards on the season so far, 13 touchdowns, and then Nate Carter passing the ball. He's over 1,000 yards on the season. That is one powerful team, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the name Dane, Ron Dane, I think we kind of talk about this almost every time we talk about Wanakee, but it's so true that athleticism comes through, and JV and Dane, what he's been able to do this season, had the 9 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the win this weekend. So 163. This is the rushing yards. So 5 total touchdowns for Wanakee in that win. 163-24, the yardage advantage in the rushing department. So doing a lot of big things on the ground.
And L.O. Johnson, a name that we haven't talked about too much, only had 2 carries. They're both touchdowns, though. Yeah. Both of his carries last week were TDs. We're going to step back in that conference, and we're going to be in it when we do our game on Friday night, as Sauk Prairie is going to host Baraboo. Now, these are 2 teams that are towards the bottom of the conference, but we love going up in the bluffs, love seeing Sauk every year. What can we expect in that football game?
Yeah, Baraboo is a team that they just played DeForest this week and did not have a good day passing the football. It was 8 of 21 passing with 2 interceptions and a not a very good rating, 9.1 for the quarterback rating or the passer rating. So they are looking to get the passing game a little bit more on track this week. Sauk Prairie, obviously looking to just overall get kind of over the hump of what we've talked about, their season kind of towards the middle, lower part of the pack in the conference. So yeah, that's both of them just trying to look for positives at point in the season. But yeah, this is it's still, you know, there's always things to watch in these games, and that's kind of where we're at.
Absolutely, and hopefully a very competitive game while we're there as well. So we're looking forward to that. Turn our attention now finally to the Badger South Conference. And when you talk about the Badger South, you're talking about the very top of the conference. Monona Grove, they're undefeated. They're ranked 6th in the state. Stoughton pulls off a late victory against a tough Oregon team. They remain undefeated as well. It all kind of is shaping up to a Week 8 showdown between those 2.
How about that? I mean, that was, you know, one of the things that, you know, we talked about this last week, was just, all right, Stoughton, where'd you come from this year? You know, not to say that they couldn't have, but I don't know that many people would have said, you know, we'd be looking at a 6-0 team
they've been
now.
building, yep.
And, you know, the way that game kind of played out, a late touchdown, you know, gets them past Oregon, and you know, one of those rivals, the 138 battle, so Highway 138. So now they are, as you mentioned, you got a big game coming up, and then potentially taking on the Monona Grove team, which is another one of those perennial almost contenders in the conference.
Yeah, Stoughton, a big game coming up before they play MG. They're going to be at Watertown. The Goslings are new to the conference, but they stepped in. Their only loss so far has been to MG. They're 3-1 within the conference. Watertown's pretty good.
Yeah, Watertown defeating Milton 27-20. So, I mean, yeah, they came into the conference, and sometimes when you're new to a conference, it's almost like there's an adjustment period. There's, we need to figure out kind of what, the scouting reports, there for what you do at the high school level. And they came in, and that's a respectable season and maybe even surprising season to kind of come in and be competitive right away in this conference.
Absolutely, and they've stubbed their toe against MG, who has an Alec Ogden, unbelievable. 1,500 yards passing, including 16 touchdowns versus only 1 interception. Oh, he can run the ball, too. Over 300 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns there. That offense averaging 46 points a game. The Silver Eagles flying high.
Yeah, he also had a perfect passer rating.
Yeah.
So that tells you
doing it
everything
all.
you need to know.
So hopefully we got you all caught up right there as we wrap all of that stuff up. Again, our game coming up in the A1 Furniture and Mattress High School Bowl Series is going to be Sauk, Baraboo. We'll see you then, Eric. Good job, man.
All right.